Sleep with this man. It's an order. The American officer points at the stretcher. Liesel's knees buckle. The tent canvas snaps in the frozen wind. Diesel fumes burn her nostrils. 23 German women stand in a row, breath visible, heart slamming against ribs. She's heard stories. Every German woman has. The propaganda films, the whispered warnings in training barracks, what Americans do to captured women. Wenn sie dich fangen, bist du kein Mensch mehr. When they catch you, you're no longer human. Liesel is 23, Wehrmacht radio operator, hasn't slept in 4 days, hasn't eaten in 2. Her uniform is frozen to her skin in patches, and now a man in olive drab is ordering her to sleep with a stranger. 371 German women in American custody by March 1945. Tonight, 23 more arrive. Liesel is one of them, standing in a medical tent that smells like blood and antiseptic, staring at an officer who won't stop pointing at that stretcher. The wounded man on it hasn't moved. Frost clings to his eyebrows. His lips are blue, but the officer keeps pointing, keeps saying those words. Dorothea, 19, youngest in the group, starts crying, silent tears freezing on her cheeks. She grabs Liesel's arm, fingernails digging through wool. "Don't," Dorothea whispers. "Please, don't let them." Liesel's throat closes. Her tongue is sandpaper. The officer, his name tag says Harrison, looks confused. He says something else in English. She doesn't understand. She doesn't need to. She's been trained to understand exactly what this moment means. Except she hasn't. Not really. The stretcher creaks as the wounded man shivers. A medic rushes over, checks his pulse. The medic isn't looking at the women, isn't looking at them like prey. He's looking at the dying man with something that looks like worry. Why worry? If they're about to... Liesel's brain stutters. Something isn't matching. The propaganda said American soldiers would be laughing, eager, violent. These men look exhausted, annoyed, cold. Harrison repeats himself, slower this time, like she's stupid. Sleep with this man. He gestures at the stretcher, then at a row of empty cots, then back at the stretcher. What is he actually saying? Margareta, 31, former army nurse, steps forward. Her German is clipped, precise. He's saying... She stops, frowns, shakes her head. What? Liesel grabs her sleeve. What is he saying? Margaret's face changes, confusion replacing fear. I think he's saying, sleep near him, not with him. Liesel's hands are shaking, but not from cold anymore. Margaret is wrong. She has to be wrong. Liesel's mind spins backward. 3 months ago. Training barracks outside Leipzig. Instructor Frau Detmann, standing at the chalkboard, pointer in hand, photographs pinned behind her, photographs of what enemies do. The chalk dust hung thick in the air that day. 40 women sat straight-backed, hands folded, learning to fear. Die Amerikaner sind Tiere, schlimmer als die Russen. Sie lächeln, während sie es tun. The Americans are animals, worse than the Russians. They smile while they do it. Frau Detmann made them memorize the phrase, made them repeat it until their voices cracked. 94% of captured German women expected sexual violence from American captors. Post-war interviews would confirm it, 94%, because women like Frau Detmann made sure they expected it. The tent canvas flaps again. Liesel blinks. She's back in the present. The American medic is still checking the wounded man's pulse, still not looking at her. Why isn't he looking? Dorothea's grip tightens. Liesel, what do we do? Liesel doesn't answer. She's watching Harrison, the officer. He's rubbing his eyes, yawning. His boots are caked with frozen mud. His uniform has a coffee stain on the collar. He looks tired, human, wrong. This isn't what Frau Detmann described. Not the eagerness, not the hunger. Harrison looks like he wants to finish paperwork and go to sleep. Lieber tot als entehrt. Better dead than dishonored. The words echo in Liesel's skull. She was supposed to fight, supposed to resist until what? The wounded man on the stretcher coughs. Blood flecks his lips. The medic swears in English, grabs a cloth, dabs at the man's mouth. Liesel's stomach drops. That's a German uniform. Under the blanket. The wounded man is German, a POW, like her. So why is an American medic trying to save him? Her brain can't compute. The propaganda said enemies kill prisoners, use them, discard them. This medic is checking a German soldier's airway with hands that shake from cold, not anticipation. Harrison speaks again, still pointing at the cots. His German is terrible, broken, barely recognizable. But Liesel catches one word: Wärme. Warmth. He's talking about warmth, not assault, not degradation, body heat, medical protocol, something about keeping the hypothermia patient alive through the night. But that can't be right. Enemies don't save enemies, Dorothea whispers again. Liesel? Liesel's mouth opens, closes, opens again. She doesn't know what to say, because everything she was taught is crumbling. And the rubble hasn't settled yet. The medic looks up, makes eye contact, and says something in German that stops her heart. Bitte, hilf mir, ihn am Leben zu halten. Please, help me keep him alive. The medic's German is rough, accented, but the words are unmistakable. He's asking for help, asking her to help save a German soldier. Liesel's legs move before her brain catches up, 2 steps toward the stretcher. Dorothea gasps behind her. Was machst du? Dorothea hisses. What are you doing? Liesel doesn't know. Her body is acting on something deeper than fear, something the propaganda couldn't erase. Instinct, training, years of medical auxiliary work before the Signals Corps. The medic, his name tag says. Brennan nods at her approach. No threat in his eyes, just exhaustion and something that looks like gratitude. Body heat protocol, he says, switching back to English, gesturing at the cots. 2 feet apart, clothed, just warmth, radiant warmth. You understand? She doesn't. Not fully. Her English is fragments, schoolgirl phrases and American radio intercepts, but she understands clothed, understands 2 feet apart. That's not what Frau Detman described, not even close. Elke, 26, pushes through the group. She's the only one with decent English, worked in a Hamburg hotel before the war, served American tourists breakfast. He's saying we sleep on separate cots, Elke translates, voice trembling, near the hypothermia patients. Body heat helps, no touching, no, she swallows, no contact. The silence is absolute. 23 women breathing frozen air, processing words that contradict everything. Margaret speaks first. That's a standard medical protocol. The Wehrmacht uses it too, for frostbite patients in Russia. Liesel turns. What? I've done it myself, Margaret says. Her face is pale, shocked, but her nurse's training is kicking in. Radiant body heat, core temperature stabilization. You place patients near warm bodies without direct contact. It works. Das ist ein Trick, the voice comes from the back. Renata, 34, former BDM regional leader, true believer. This is a trick, Renata repeats. They want us to trust them. Then they'll what? Elke snaps. Let us freeze too? Renata's face twists. She has no answer, just certainty crumbling into fear. Harrison clears his throat, points at the cots again, holds up 2 fingers, then makes a horizontal gesture. Lie down. Sleep. Sleep. Not sleep with. Just sleep. Liesel's throat burns, her eyes sting. She was ready to die, ready to fight, ready for the worst moment of her life. And it might not be coming. The stretcher creaks. The German soldier's eyes flutter open. He sees Liesel and whispers 4 words. Glaub ihnen, sie sind anders. Believe them, they're different. The wounded soldier, young, maybe 22, frost still clinging to his Wehrmacht collar, stares up at Liesel with eyes that have seen something she hasn't. I've been here 3 days, he whispers. They fed me, treated my wounds. They could have let me die. They didn't. His name is Friedrich. She'll learn this later. Right now she just sees a German soldier defending the enemy. It breaks something inside her. Renata shoves forward. He's been turned, brainwashed. They do that. Make prisoners say... They set my broken leg, Friedrich interrupts, voice cracking. Gave me morphine, American morphine, for a German soldier. U.S. Medical Protocol, 1944. All POWs receive identical care to American wounded. Same supplies, same attention, same morphine. The Geneva Convention required it. The Americans actually followed it. Renata's mouth opens, closes, opens. That's impossible, she finally manages. Is it? Margaret's voice cuts through. Look at him. His leg is splinted with American materials. He's alive. If they wanted us dead, we'd be dead. The tent goes silent again. Canvas snapping, wind howling outside. 23 women recalculating everything they thought they knew. Liesel's hands have stopped shaking. Something else is happening now. Something worse than fear. Doubt. Was when Alice eine Lüge war? What if everything was a lie? She can't think that. Can't let that thought take root. Because if the propaganda was wrong about Americans, what else was it wrong about? The war? The cause? The years she spent believing? Harrison clears his throat again. He's holding blankets now, real wool blankets, clean. He starts distributing them to the women, one each, no conditions. Dorothea takes hers with shaking hands, holds it like it might explode. Why? She whispers to no one. Why would they? She can't finish. None of them can. Liesel takes her blanket. The wool is rough against her frozen fingers, warm. She presses it to her chest. Something wet slides down her cheek. She tells herself it's melting frost. Brennan the medic approaches, gestures toward the cots near Friedrich's stretcher, holds up 2 fingers again, 2 feet apart, points at the blankets, makes a sleeping gesture, simple, safe, clear. Liesel looks at Friedrich, at the cots, at the blanket in her arms, and makes a decision that isn't really a choice at all. She walks toward the cots, lies down, 2 feet from Friedrich, fully clothed, blanket pulled to her chin. The Americans don't touch her, don't approach, don't even look. And that's when she starts to break. Brennan can't sleep that night, hasn't slept properly in weeks. But tonight is different. He keeps seeing Liesel's face when she walked toward the cots. That expression. Terror collapsing into confusion, collapsing into something that looked like grief. He's seen it before. Buchenwald. 3 weeks ago. The liberation. The bodies stacked like firewood. The survivors who flinched when medics approached, who screamed when touched, who expected the Americans to finish what the Germans started. Bitte, nicht das Gesicht, nicht das Gesicht. Please, not the face, not the face. A woman at Buchenwald said that. Skeletal, barely alive, covering her face with stick-thin arms. She thought he was going to hit her. He was trying to give her water. 847 German-speaking medical personnel in U.S. POW operations. Brennan is one of them. His grandmother came from Munich, taught him German lullabies before she taught him English prayers. He never thought he'd use the language to calm terrified women, women who expected him to be a monster. The tent is quieter now. Most of the German women have settled onto cots. Some sleep, most just stare at the ceiling, waiting for something bad that isn't coming. Harrison approaches, coffee in hand. They think we're going to assault them. Brennan nods. Propaganda. They've been told stories. What kind of stories? The kind that make death sound better than capture. Harrison's jaw tightens. He's 34. Career Army. Thought he understood the enemy. Didn't understand they were just as scared. What do we do? Nothing. Brennan watches Liesel's cot. She's not sleeping. Eyes open, tracking every shadow. We do exactly what we're supposed to do. Follow protocol. Be boring. Be predictable. Eventually they'll realize we're not the monsters they expected. And if they don't? Brennan doesn't answer. He's thinking about Renata, the true believer, the one who called Friedrich brainwashed, the one whose hands clenched when the blankets were distributed. She's lying on her cot now, but her eyes are different, scanning, planning, calculating. Some people can't survive having their worldview destroyed. They'd rather die than admit they were wrong. Brennan's seen that too. Sie wird ein Problem sein, he mutters. She's going to be a problem. Harrison frowns. Who? Brennan nods toward Renata's cot. The one who can't stop believing. Outside, the wind screams. Inside, 23 women wait for morning, and one woman starts planning something that will change everything. Her fingers curl around the edge of her blanket, and something glints in the darkness. Morning comes gray and frozen. Liesel hasn't slept. Neither has Renata. But their reasons are different. Liesel spent the night listening, cataloging, waiting for the assault that never came. The Americans rotated guards every 2 hours, never entered the tent, never approached the cots, just stood outside, freezing, so the women could be warm inside. That detail bothers her more than anything. Warum frieren sie für uns? Why are they freezing for us? Nurse Lieutenant Sarah Hoffman arrives at Euro 700, German-born, American-trained, 31 years old. Fled Hamburg in 1938 when the writing on the wall became writing on her family's shop windows. She speaks perfect German, the accent of home. "Good morning," she says, walking between the cots. "I'm here to answer questions. I know you're afraid. I know what you've been told. I'm here to tell you something different." Silence. 23 women staring at a traitor or a savior. They can't decide. Post-war interviews would reveal 78% of German women POWs didn't trust American explanations for 48 hours minimum. Some took weeks, some never believed at all. Sarah continues, "The order last night was medical, body heat protocol, standard procedure for hypothermia patients. You were placed near wounded soldiers, German soldiers, to help stabilize their core temperature, fully clothed, no contact required." "Lies," Renata spits from her cot. "You're a collaborator." Sarah doesn't flinch. "I'm a Jewish woman whose family died in the camps you helped build." The tent goes dead silent. "I have every reason to hate you," Sarah continues, voice steady. "Every reason to want revenge. But I'm a nurse. I swore an oath. And the Americans, the country that took me in, they follow the Geneva Convention, even for enemies." Liesel's chest burns. She can't breathe, can't think. "Eine Juden pflegt uns?" A Jewish woman is caring for us? The cognitive dissonance is physical, like a hand squeezing her heart. Elke is the first to crack, tears streaming down her face. "I didn't know about the camps. I didn't—" "Yes, you did," Sarah interrupts, gentle but firm. "You chose not to see. But that's a conversation for later. Right now, I need to check your wounds, give you hot food, and explain the rules of this camp." She reaches into her bag, pulls out bread, real bread, fresh. "Who's hungry?" 22 hands rise, slowly, shakily. Only Renata stays still, her fingers still curled around something hidden, her eyes never leaving Sarah's back, and Liesel sees it, the glint, the sharp edge. Liesel can't stop staring at Renata's hand, at the shape under the blanket, at the rigid set of her jaw. Renata was BDM, League of German Girls, regional leader. She taught children to salute, taught girls to hate, spent 10 years building an identity on the foundation of everything Sarah represents. And now that foundation is crumbling. German propaganda budget, 1944, 1.2 billion Reichsmarks. More than ammunition, more than fuel, because bullets only kill bodies. Propaganda kills minds. "Ich habe mein ganzes Leben dafür gegeben," Renata mutters. "I gave my whole life to this." Liesel understands. The horror of realizing you built your identity on lies. The vertigo of watching everything you believed dissolve. But understanding doesn't stop the fear, because Renata isn't dissolving. She's hardening, calcifying around her beliefs like bone around shrapnel. Sarah distributes bread, moves between cots, checks pulses, asks about injuries. Her efficiency is terrifying. She touches each woman without hesitation, treats them like patients instead of enemies. Dorothea is sobbing openly now. "I believed it all. The posters, the films. I believed—" "Shh." Sarah crouches beside her. "You were young. You were lied to. What matters now is what you choose to believe next." "Wie können wir ihr glauben?" Margareta whispers. "How can we believe her?" Liesel doesn't know. The distrust is bone deep. Years of conditioning don't evaporate in one morning. But something is changing. Small cracks in the wall. Dorothea accepting bread from a Jewish woman. Elke asking Sarah about her family. Margaret checking Friedrich's bandages alongside an American medic. Renata sees it too. The fracturing, the defections. Her hand tightens under the blanket. Liesel makes a decision, stands, walks toward Sarah, puts herself between the nurse and Renata's cot. "I have a question," Liesel says loudly. Sarah turns. "Yes? If this is all true, if Americans follow the Geneva Convention, why didn't anyone tell us? Why didn't anyone try to explain before we were captured?" Sarah's face softens. "Because your government controlled the information, and ours assumed you knew the rules. Nobody thought about the women caught in between." Liesel's throat closes. Caught in between. That's exactly how it feels. Suspended between two realities. Unable to trust either. Behind her she hears movement. Renata sitting up. Blanket shifting. Liesel doesn't turn around. Doesn't break eye contact with Sarah. "I want to believe you," Liesel whispers. "I just don't know how." Sarah nods. That's a start. Behind Liesel, Renata's feet hit the floor. Renata moves fast, faster than anyone expects. The scalpel flashes, stolen from the medical tray last night, hidden under her blanket for hours. But she's not lunging at Sarah, she's pressing it against her own throat. "Ich werde nicht zur Verräterin," she screams. "I won't become a traitor." The tent erupts, women screaming, Sarah freezing mid-step. Brennan bursting through the entrance, Harrison right behind him. 847 documented suicide attempts by German POWs in U.S. custody. 89% occurred within the first 72 hours, before the truth could settle. Renata is about to become a statistic. "Don't move," Brennan shouts, hands raised. "Nobody move." Liesel's body acts before her brain. She steps forward, directly into Renata's sightline, blocking Sarah. "Renata, look at me." The scalpel wavers. Blood beads where the blade touches skin. "Du verstehst das nicht," Renata hisses. "You don't understand. If everything was a lie, the camps, the enemy, the war, then what did I give my life for? What did we fight for?" Liesel's chest burns. She understands. God help her, she understands completely. "I don't know," Liesel admits. "I don't know what any of it was for, but dying won't give you answers. It'll give me peace." "No." Liesel shakes her head. "It'll give them another body, another statistic, another German woman who couldn't face the truth." Renata's hand trembles. The scalpel presses deeper, more blood. Friedrich speaks from his stretcher, weak, hoarse, but audible. "Ich war auch wie du. I was also like you." Renata's eyes snap to him. "I believed everything," Friedrich continues, "fought for everything, killed for everything. And when they captured me, when they treated me like a human instead of an animal, I wanted to die too." His hand reaches out, shaking with effort, palm up. "But I'm still here, and I'm starting to think maybe surviving is its own kind of courage." The scalpel wavers. Brennan inches closer, slowly, hands visible. Renata's eyes are wet now, tears mixing with blood on her neck. "Ich weiß nicht mehr, wer ich bin." "I don't know who I am anymore." "None of us do," Liesel whispers, "but we can figure it out together." The longest seconds of Liesel's life tick by. Then Renata's hand drops. The scalpel clatters to the frozen ground. Brennan catches her as she collapses, sobbing. A broken woman who just chose to live. But living, Liesel is learning, is just the beginning of the hardest fight. That night, Liesel lies on her cot. 2 feet away, Friedrich breathes steadily. His fever broke an hour ago. He's going to live. She still can't sleep. Outside, Private Thomas Carver walks his patrol route. 21 years old, farm boy from Nebraska, standing in sub-zero temperatures so German women can stay warm inside. Liesel can hear his boots crunching every 2 minutes. Clockwork. Predictable. Safe. Body heat protocol saved an estimated 340 lives that winter across all U.S. POW operations. 0 documented incidents of abuse during the procedure. 0. The numbers should comfort her. They don't. Because numbers don't erase years of conditioning, don't dissolve the fear embedded in her bones. Er friert für mich, she whispers to the ceiling. He's freezing for me? She can't make sense of it. The propaganda said Americans were animals, said they'd use women, discard them, laugh while doing it. Instead, a boy from Nebraska is getting frostbite so she can have a blanket. Friedrich stirs. Can't sleep? No. It gets easier, eventually. When? He doesn't answer. Maybe he doesn't know. Maybe easier is just something people say. Renata is sedated 2 cots away. Brennan cleaned her neck wound, stitched it, checked on her 3 times already. She'll have a scar. But she'll live. Living seems to be the only thing the Americans want from them. Sarah made her rounds an hour ago, explained tomorrow's schedule, medical examinations, hot meals, letters to family if they want them. Brief nach Hause? Liesel asked. Letters home? Geneva Convention requires it, Sarah said. You're allowed to contact family. Let them know you're alive. Liesel's mother thinks she's dead. Probably. Communications collapsed months ago. Her mother is probably mourning. Probably. She can't finish the thought. Tomorrow feels impossible. Tonight feels endless. Carver's boots crunch past again. 2 minutes, clockwork. Friedrich? Yes? Do you believe them now? That they're different? Silence, breathing. Then, I believe they haven't hurt me yet. That's all I can say for certain. It's not enough. But it's something. Liesel closes her eyes, forces her body to relax, tries to believe, just for tonight, that she's safe. Outside, Carver blows on his hands and keeps walking. Inside, 23 women sleep near their wounded countrymen, fully clothed, untouched, alive. The Americans don't enter the tent all night, and somewhere in the space between fear and trust, Liesel starts to heal. She doesn't know it yet, but she will. Munich, 1987. Liesel is 65 years old. A journalist named Werner sits across from her, tape recorder running, notepad ready. He's 32, thinks he understands war from books. Tell me about American captivity, he says. What was it like? Liesel's weathered hands wrap around her coffee cup. Steam rises between them. Sleep with this man, she says quietly. It's an order. Werner's pen stops. What? That's what I heard. March 1945, Belgium. A medical tent full of terrified women who expected the worst. She reaches into her bag, pulls out a photograph, black and white, faded, a canvas tent, cots, a stretcher. That's where I learned everything I knew was wrong. 67% of surviving German women POWs never spoke publicly about their captivity. Liesel is in the 33%. Her interview will be watched by 2.3 million Germans, will spark debates, conversations, tears. The American officer was ordering us to sleep near hypothermia patients, she continues. Body heat protocol, 2 feet apart, fully clothed. But we heard something else, something the propaganda prepared us for. Werner leans forward. What did you hear? Das Schlimmste. Immer das Schlimmste. The worst, always the worst. She sets down another photo, a man, older, smiling. Friedrich, the wounded soldier on the stretcher. We wrote letters for 40 years. He died in 1984. Heart attack. Her voice catches, steadies. They saved his life that night. American medics treating a German soldier like he mattered, and we stood there, waiting for them to become monsters. She meets Werner's eyes. They never did. The tape recorder whirs. Outside, Munich traffic hums, 42 years between then and now. Liesel has grandchildren who speak both German and English, who know both truths. The hardest part wasn't the fear, she says finally. Fear has an end. The hardest part was the guilt. Years of hating people who saved my life. Years of carrying lies I should have questioned. She touches the photograph of the tent. Sleep with this man. 5 words that nearly broke me. But what came after, the blanket they gave me, the rules they followed, the lies that shattered, that built something no propaganda could touch. Werner's pen is still. What did it build? Liesl smiles, sad, knowing. The understanding that enemies are human too, that kindness can come from anywhere, and that the most dangerous weapon isn't a bomb or a gun, it's a lie you never question. She finishes her coffee, sets down the cup. Tell that story. Make sure they remember.